All right, so now we've got the gun in your hand, but we need to know what we're sending through that gun. So ammo, chokes, patterning.
Let's dive in, man.
There's a bunch of stuff to get into.
It's getting more fun, right? I love it.
We're getting closer to taking that shot. So, basically your main sizes when it comes to a shotgun are going to be your 12 gauge and your 20 gauge. Now, of course, there's other sizes that are available, but we'll just speak in those references. When it comes to a 12 gauge, that's the bigger of the two. 12 gauge is going to pack a little bit more punch. It's going to reach out a little bit further and have more pellets in it than a 20 gauge. 20 gauge is going to kick a little bit less, and some people like that because it might be better for getting youth into it or something like that. But what about the type of actual shell that they're using?
Yeah. Okay, so let's dive into this here, man, because there's basically two different main types of shot now. I mean, there's the traditional lead. It's been around for years. Guys have been using it. And like he was saying, though, even with lead, yeah, it's one of those things where there's different sizes of lead. There's 4-shot, 5-shot, there's number 6s, there's combinations of shots. So some states allow non-combination or don't allow combinations while other states do. So you're probably sick and tired of us talking about state regulations, but you always want to remain legal in every area that we're teaching here. So I'm going to show you guys what I like to use, and this is actually a combination shot. This is a 5, 6, 7 is the number. And what that number means is the actual size of the pellets that are in here. The higher the number, the actual smaller the shot is. So a 7 shot is actually smaller than a number 5 shot, but this is a combination of different pellet sizes in here. And this is a 3.5 inch long shell, which means you guys can have it. Because these babies right here, they probably won't get used, to be honest with you, because anything Marty's showing like a 2 3/4 inch, that's standard. A lot of guys use a 3 inch. If your gun's chambered for 3.5, 100% guaranteed to bruise my shoulder, and that's not a joke. These babies are miniature cannons right here, so I hate them. I hate them. So if you shoot them a few times, I'm just warning you, they kick like a mule. That's no joke. But the shot here that's different than his is these are called TSS. TSS is a newer shot, been around for a couple years now, but what it stands for, if you're asking yourself, is it's tungsten super shot. Now, one advantage, there's a lot of guys that are way more in-depth into ammo than both of us combined, okay? I mean, there's guys that can argue till no tomorrow on shot. But tungsten, from what we've seen demonstrated in front of us and personal experience, is very lethal, because the weight of the tungsten and the size of the pellet and everything, it packs a lot of force, it's a high-speed shot, which brings a lot of momentum with it. Which means also, too, that you can aim and shoot further distances typically than you can with lead. Lead's going to be a little bit lighter. The air friction's going to slow it down, so you might lose some of that distance versus using TSS. So that's a key point to know. So,
yeah. One of the things, too, as far as the difference between TSS and lead, obviously you want to always be making the most ethical shot possible, as far as distance-wise, and when you're deciding to take that shot, you don't want to wound an animal, of course.
For sure.
But when it comes to the outer limits of these types of ammo here, if you're not using an extra full choke, let's say you've just got, a standard shotgun, what kind of difference are we talking about effective range-wise between TSS versus lead?
Yeah, and that's what people are arguing all the time. But I mean, it could easily be a 15 to 20 yard difference.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy what it can do.
Yeah. Most people, I myself, with the choke that I use, which we'll get into here in just a little bit, I feel like my 12 gauge's sweet spot is somewhere between 40 to 45 yards. Obviously, you can kill them closer. Beyond that, I've actually killed a turkey out to about 60 yards, and that's the furthest that I would ever shoot at a turkey. And that's using this. But we know people that are turkey guides that we've worked with a lot that consistently kill turkeys out in that 60 to 80 yard range, 60 to 75 yard range using the TSS just because of the difference in that extra range that it gets you. One factor to keep in mind, and throughout this course, you're going to hear us reference a couple different options. One option is going to be, what we would consider an entry level, more of like a budget price point,
Yeah.
and another one would be higher. You know, if you're willing to spend a little bit extra money and what you'll get out of it. The TSS is quite a bit more expensive. How much? What kind of price difference on average right now are we talking about?
I think for the most part, it's like more than double.
Yeah.
So like you're looking at a box of lead here, you're looking at this price tag still on it, it's $10.99. So you're gonna be talking twice that. Now for me, the way I justify that, but you gotta stick with what you're comfortable in with inside your budget, of course. But the way I look at it for me is if I'm hunting Indiana, I can only hunt one bird a year. We're a one bird state. So if my gun's patterned in, and if I shoot good and true, this should be my 1 year right here. So cost per year, breaking everything down, if you're not out there missing, you're good to go. If you start missing, it gets a little pricey. People have been known to miss. But
Yep. Speaking of people being known to miss, we'll have a video coming up here in a little while that will show you that kind of
Awesome.
shows that. Now, another thing to think
misses.
about as far as the cost, this is a box of 5, this is a box of 10 shells, and both scenarios you do have to pattern in the gun beforehand, or you at
Okay.
least should. And so you do have to consider, you know, if you're going to get started with this, you also want to take the time to spend the extra money on the shells to get it patterned in first too. But like you said, if you're only going to end up using one shell per year in your state that you're hunting in, you know, it could be worth it to get that extra
For
15
sure.
yards. Could be the difference between getting a turkey and not.
For
squeezing the
sure.
trigger.
And what's going to really help you get your turkey are two different things. Your level of comfortability with what you're using, which leads into the second thing, which is your confidence level. You know, so if you can go out there and know exactly what your equipment's doing, what it's designed to do, that's going to be huge. An example of that, Marty didn't bring it in here, and he knows I'm not picking on him for this, but you saw me, I was holding my Benelli, and he was holding the crossbow in the last video, but he uses a Remington 870. He's comfortable with it. He's used that sucker for
Had that since I was
150 years.
Had that since I was 15 years old. Still killing things with it.
Yeah, for sure. And before I just got this other shotgun, I got it because I was having problems with the other one, but it was an old Mossberg 500 I used for years. So it's the same situation. So be comfortable with your equipment, get to know it. That's why he brought up the point of the price point differentiation. We're going to show you that throughout all this gear, where you can get in at what we call the shoestring budget. You know, get the bare necessities, get in the game, especially if you've never done this before. But if you want to kick it up a notch and you do have the discretionary income to do that, then we're going to show you nicer stuff throughout the course that you can upgrade to in the future.
Yeah, and when it comes to shot size, again, you already hit on it, but just to reiterate the point, you know, like say for example, Indiana, they want you to use 4, 5, or 6 size shot. Number 4 is going to be a bigger pellet. It's going to hold weight longer. It's going to go further, but because it's bigger, there's less that can fit into
Good
this.
point. Yep.
When you get into a 6, there's a lot more of them, so you're making a bigger cloud of lead or TSS flying out there, but they're smaller, so they're going to lose their, you know, momentum. And so they're going to lose some effectiveness there. So you have to kind of keep that in mind. I've always went with the number 5, just kind of right in the middle. You know, I kind of feel it's like the best of both worlds for here in Indiana, like the higher size, higher quantity. So I've always had good luck with that. But again, some of these states that are allowing the combination patterns, like, or the combination loads, like you mentioned, are really great because they give you some of those big knockdowns that'll reach out a little bit further, plus that cloud. And when it comes to shooting that gun and seeing how it's going to react, one of the big things that you need to do is pattern it. You need to go out there and put some time putting some shells through the gun on paper. It's always best, in my opinion, to use an actual turkey head target so you can count the number of pellets that are hitting that spinal cord in the brain and make a decision on what type of load that you should actually be using.
Yeah, with that being said right there, we actually have a checklist that we're creating for you guys. It's going to be below this gears, turkey gear module. And that inside that checklist, there's targets in there. And so they are the targets that Marty's recommended. They're lifelike, real looking turkey heads. So you want to shoot at something very comparable in size, something that looks like a turkey, so you can train your eye to set that target out there at 20, 30, 40, 50 yards.
And one more thing that you want to consider before you start patterning your shotgun is you want to decide whether you're going to use a choke in the gun. Now, you should always have some type of choke. Most shotguns come with like an improved cylinder or modified choke that comes in it. And, you know, it's more used for like waterfowl hunting and things like that, pheasant hunting, upland game. And that just kind of narrowly projects your pattern out there, but it still stays somewhat wide. You can spend some money, and again, these range from fairly affordable to extremely expensive, and you can get a turkey choke. And what that is it screws into the end of the gun and it really constricts the opening. So when that shell fires, all of that ammo, all of that shot is coming out in a much tighter pattern. But there is pros and cons when it comes to using an extra full turkey choke.
Yeah, and I definitely want to mention and tell you guys a quick story about knowing your choke and what it can handle and shoot, because I got in a position where I started missing a couple turkeys. And when I went back to shoot, my gun was way off at 40 yards. And what I made the mistake of doing, and I'm going to admit it, was I had a choke in my gun, in that shotgun, that was a lead shot only choke. And I took that baby out waterfowl hunting and shooting very hot steel shot through a super full choke. Steel shot runs tighter when it goes through your barrel anyhow. And not only did it slightly damage the choke and bent the barrel just a hair at the very end, to the point where that gun, that barrel was useless. So you want to make sure that you know the choke that you're getting and that you're not just getting the wrong thing. So there's, like he said, there's a lot of different chokes out there to choose from, a lot of different price points and this and that. But having all that being said, it becomes a situation where anybody can still miss.
Oh, exactly. And we've got a short video here just to prove that. I'm sick to my stomach right now. One feather. Lock it. What do you...
Seriously.
Take your time.
They're moving too much.
Get in again.
What the heck?
You're on the one closest to the decoy.
Son of a gun. What the heck happened?
Oh. Take him when you can. I'm still on him.
The bird's out there a little ways, but I hear Marty off to the side go, "I'm on him. I'm on him." And for some reason in my head, I thought that was encouragement to take a shot, like he was saying, take him. I don't know what in the world I was thinking. Yeah, I guess looking through the camera viewfinder was a little bit misleading on the distance. It looked a heck of a lot closer. So I take the shot. 80 yards is probably not the best range to be shooting at a turkey. I missed the bird. Very embarrassing. It'll never happen again.
Guessing he came this way.
Tell me why I took that shot. I can't. Because you wanted to kill a bird. You found it. You know it's not wounded. Yeah, I'm sorry.
I was just excited to pull the trigger, I guess. That's what happened.
Got something for you. And then I found your turkey. I know it's his because it's been shot off. Yeah, you see it. It's real fresh. Fresh.
You gonna mount that? Picture frame.
Tie flies with it and catch trout.
There you go. Look at the bright side.
Yeah.
When it comes to chokes, you know, as you saw in that video, there's pros and cons to getting an extra full turkey choke. Obviously, the pros being that tighter pattern puts more shot concentrated into an area over a longer distance. It increases your range, and I would say tremendously. You know, like I said, I think my sweet spot on my gun is probably that 40 to 45 yard range. It's, you know, really just a tight pattern and puts them down, but it still is wide enough that it makes it easy to forgive being off a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, if I had still the original modified choke that came with it, I would say that that sweet spot would probably come back to maybe about 30 yards. So again, just like the TSS shot, this is about, in my opinion, about a 15-yard difference maker having that choke. That's the pro. The con is when you're under 40 yards or, you know, 30 yards, the closer that bird gets to you, the tighter that pattern is when it comes out, and the easier it is to miss, the less forgiveness you have. So that's something to consider. If you're really thinking that your best bet is to have that extra 15 yards of distance because you're afraid that you don't have what you're going to need to get that bird into 30 yards, then it might be worth, you know, buying a choke and using that and patterning with a choke. However, if you know, you feel confident you can get a bird in closer, these can actually become a hindrance once you get to, you know, 20, 25, 30 yards. You can miss a lot easier by having that choke in there. So that's something to consider. Especially
if you're using TSS.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be running a tighter pattern with like an extra full turkey choke like he's explaining. So you get a bird within 20 yards, you know, your shot pattern goes from this to this real quick and easy. So if you're aiming for that lower neck like we teach, it's easy to miss that shot for sure.
So once you've selected the type of gun that you're using, the type of ammo that you want to use, and decided whether you're going to use an extra full turkey choke or just stick with the choke that's in the gun, the most important factor at that point is to pattern your gun.
Yep.
And we've got a quick little video that shows my best friend Chris and I and his daughter Haley getting her ready for a turkey hunt. And it also has some good tips along the way, not only about how to pattern a shotgun, but also how to get kids and youth and people that are not comfortable with shooting accustomed to shooting a shotgun.
Right.
All right, guys, we're out here with my good friend Chris and his daughter Haley. She's going to be going out turkey hunting for the first time ever. Actually, this is your first time hunting anything, right?
Yeah.
So this is a pretty cool moment. My son used to go with me. Now he's too old to go for the youth season. So she gets the spot here. Well, hopefully it's a privilege to get the spot. We'll see.
We'll see.
So anyways, this is your first time shooting things, right? Or you've shot a little bit?
I've shot handguns, but I haven't shot any rifles or shotguns or anything like that.
Okay, not a huge difference. The safety features are pretty much the same thing, but we're gonna go over some different tips that you can do as far as how to teach new shooters how to shoot safely, properly, not develop any bad habits.
First and foremost, what you really want to push towards a new shooter is to treat every firearm as if it were loaded. Second, you want to teach them that they want to keep their weapon on safe and their finger off of the trigger until they are up on target with the intention to shoot. And you also want to teach a new shooter that they always want to be mindful of the surroundings of their target. You don't want them shooting at any house that may be in the background or towards anything they're not supposed to be shooting at.
All right, those are some very good tips. Keep those in mind. You can definitely teach them how to be safe for the rest of their life while shooting. And there's more tips that we're going to share throughout the video that are basic shooting style tips that will help them become a more proficient shooter. And we hope this video will help you guys teach new kids how to shoot, new adults how to shoot, and get new people into the hunting sports. So one of the big tips that I can give you when you're starting somebody into shooting, especially kids, is one of the big problems that happens is developing a gun flinch. The guns are a little bit loud, they have a little bit of a kick, so if you can introduce them into shooting sports with something really small caliber, like we're going to start here with the .22 rifle. .22 rifle doesn't kick at all, It's got a little bit of noise, but it's not too bad. And you'll notice here that we're gonna start off with Haley wearing earmuffs, like ear protection. That way there's no loud sound associated with the shot. What'll happen if people fear that shot, the kick, the noise, they'll start to flinch when they pull that trigger. So even though we really don't need the ear protection for the .22 caliber, we're gonna go ahead and have her start off getting used to wearing it for now so she doesn't develop any bad habits.
Down the hill there, we have a bottle set up, kind of a fun target. We went ahead and filled it with water. Put some food coloring in it. It'll be an easy target for her. It's something fun. Normally if you get kids something fun to shoot with at first, this is something they really start to enjoy.
Just as you're ready, just gently get that safety off and pull back, and just keep her centered right on the target until it goes off. I saw the bottle move for sure. Did it hit it?
Yep.
First shot. All right, good job. I think we got an eagle eye here.
Oh, that looks good too.
All right, you want to go and hit her one more time?
Through and through.
Might as well, you're drilling it.
Got it.
I think we got to get a harder target for you. While you're holding it, can you do one thing for me real quick? Go ahead and lean back in like you're ready to shoot. And then can you take your right hand and put your finger right on the tip of the scope right here, and then touch it right to the frame of your glasses. Feel that distance right there?
Mm-hmm.
That's one good step that you can do too. It's not gonna kick on a .22, but when you get into bigger guns like, you know, high-powered rifles, those can jump back a little bit, and that can cause some really bad shooting habits if you get hit. We call it getting scoped. If you get hit, that'll cause a problem. So one good habit, anytime you're shooting something with a scope, just reach up and feel the top of the scope, your glasses, and that'll reassure you that you're far enough away to be able to shoot. But we're gonna go ahead and shoot a smaller target now and see how we do. So whenever you're ready. Shoo.
Got it.
Sweet. We got Annie Oakley here.
I know, right?
I think we need to go to a smaller target or something here, it looks like. Woo-wee. All right.
The cat went flying off.
Those turkeys are going to be in trouble. All right, we're progressively going smaller on the target here. She's drilling them. We're getting down to a super small target. If she can hit this, I'm going to be impressed. Whew. That was a good one. I am impressed. Wow, she's a sharpshooter. We're gonna switch to the shotgun, but what we're gonna do is actually just use low brass skeet shot, because we don't want to develop any bad habits of the noise or the recoil causing flinch. So the best tip I can give you, start off with low brass skeet shot. It doesn't kick near as much, isn't quite as loud, and it allows them to get used to shooting. When we get out to the field, we're gonna go ahead and put the actual turkey load in, the one that I've patterned before, and I know that it works good with the gun, and we're gonna shoot turkeys with that, and I can guarantee you the excitement when that bird's coming in, they won't even notice the difference between the shells. Keep it kind of gun pulled in tight to your shoulder, nice and braced in the pocket there. And whenever you're ready. There we go. Sweet.
Safety's on.
All right, let's whack a turkey. Sweet, we drilled it. We gotta go see how many shots we put in it. Safety on?
Yes.
All right, good job. Let's go see what we got here.
Because there's 1, 2, 3, and then this one's closed. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That one's sore on it.
Yeah, and these ones right here really probably would be hitting the spine. Drilled it.
Safety's on.
All right, let's go see the damage. You can kind of see how it's turning into a circle all the way out here. All of your pattern is still centered right on top of it there though, so that's exactly what you're looking for. Turkeys don't hold perfectly still, so what do you say we try and figure out some way to jimmy rig a moving target?
Sounds good to me. Let's do it.
All right, this will be fun.
Turkeys will typically, as they're walking, even just standing there, their heads will they'll be up 1 second, down the next, and it's just a matter of trying to figure out when you're gonna shoot. So we're gonna simulate that for Haley, and we'll see how she does.
All right, you ready to see if we can hit a moving turkey this time?
Yes.
All right, let's do this.
And I'm pretty confident I'll get it.
I think so.
Safety's on.
All right, great job shooting, man. I mean, that was pretty awesome. So the 22, you didn't miss at all. The only miss throughout the entire day was the very first shot with the shotgun, which was due to the bead. So I would say that was shouldn't even really count, right?
Yeah, it shouldn't count at all.
Shouldn't count. All right,
Okay.
so 100% as far as I'm concerned. Plus, you even passed the moving turkey target test.
Yeah, sure
Pretty
did.
good.
Absolutely. So, you know, and the big question is, did you have fun?
We did have fun. It was a really good experience to have, and especially learn how to shoot correctly with a shotgun.
Awesome. You
Awesome.
ready to go try and take on a turkey now?
Definitely.
All right.
right,
I'm
yep.
looking forward to it.
Proud of you, kid.
All right, hopefully these tips help you guys get somebody out there, whether they're young, first time, just never been introduced to the outdoors, get them out shooting, teach them about guns, most importantly safety first, and have a great time and enjoy the outdoors.